Okay, so just let this cool down for a minute or so, just so it's not too hot to grab onto. Let's move that out of the way. Okay, so I've got a big piece of heat shrink that can just slide straight up and over the joints. Just make sure it's all the way up. So just forcing that out with my fingers, and just going to grab the lighter and just give it a quick shrink around where the joints are. Obviously be careful doing this, you don't want to burn your fingers either. Okay, so that's gripped on there. So let's just go around, shrink the rest of it on. I did put another, so I put the original piece on that I said when I said don't forget to put your shrink on before you do your soldering. So all I've done is I actually just desoldered the wires quickly and put a big piece of heat shrink on, because what I wanted to do was cover the actual solder joints as well. So there you go, it's nearly done. Okay, so that's covered there. That's covered nicely. So let's say there's no possible option of short circuit anywhere. So now that that's on, the battery can, it should fit, oh yeah, it'll fit there. So the battery can now reach across straight to there. Now it will fit. There you go. This is a nice fit. The wires are low because this has the Hilux pickup shell. It does actually sit quite low. So over here where the batteries go, I can fit a 5200 2-cell in there. It's a little bit of a tight squeeze, which is why I've still got the plastic, sorry you can't see from there, which is why I've still got the plastic body mounts on there, because it does allow for a small bit of flex, just to allow that battery fit in. So that one will fit over here. So it's going to have to be there, somewhere there. I've got some extra straps, some Velcro straps, so that can go there and that'll live nicely to one side. So next we're going to do the other Deans on the other ESC. So we're just going to put a bit of solder on the tip here again, just to get things rocking and rolling. So just apply that. Then again, you won't be able to see with my hands in the way. I've already put my heat shrink on. So just watch that solder now. It's just jumped onto the connector as it's warmed up enough. So just a little blow to cool it down. And so that's on well. So we'll just connect up the negative wire. Just manipulate that into place. Then we'll just do the same on this end. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to line it up. I'm just trying to make sure that these are lined up properly. There we go. So you can see there that the black is in place where it should be. So same again, just a little bit of solder on the tip. Like I say, this is what makes soldering so much easier. Is if you use a good quality iron. So this was about £45. This iron. It's just plugged straight in, you can't adjust the temperature or anything. And also use good solder. I only use Stanol solder because, like I say, it's one of the best around. It's fairly expensive for a roll. I think I paid about 55 quid for this roll. It's 0.5 millimetre in diameter, and it's a 260 gram roll, I think it was, if I remember correctly. So this will last years upon years. It's lead free, and it's the roast compliant as well, so it's good stuff to use. It's used across all different types of industries for different things. Just get that into there. Should take any second now. There we go. Perfect. Okay. Just another soldering tip for you guys. So I've placed my iron down on the desk, and rather than hold the iron and try and run it on, if you shake it'll drop off. Literally now I've just got loads of solder Might seem wasteful, but trust me, you look after the tip of the iron, it'll make your life a lot easier when it comes to soldering. I'm just plonking it on. You can probably see off the bottom of that a little bit there's a big blob. So when you disconnect your soldering iron as well, leave the big blob on. It'll go hard, it stops the tip from oxidising. You don't have any issues there, so when you next heat it up, it'll melt. You can just knock it off. If you've got some wire wool, clean your tip in wire wool. Like, to be fair, I look after my tips that well. I never really have to do much to them. They last easily 4 to 5 months on a tip. But yeah, let's say it's just down to making sure that when you're not using it and it's sat there, plugged in, keep solder on the end, stop that oxidisation from happening. Alright, so there we go. That's those two connected up properly now. So they'll run off their own separate power supply. So all I need to do now is just plug a battery into each one, because I can't remember which one is connected up in amongst this. Now this insulation tape here is not covering up any bare wires. All the wires underneath it covered in heat shrink. That's purely because there's a group of wires, including the small red one for the winch. It's just to keep them together so they're nice and safe out of the way. Obviously don't want any of them moving across, touching the pinion gear or anything else. So yeah, let's grab a battery and see which one does what. Alright, so we've got everything connected up. So I'll remove the ESC from the back, because it usually lives, where is it? Usually lives in a balloon, just for a bit of waterproofing. But like I say, it's a little bit damp from the weekend, so I'm just letting the receiver air off more than anything. So receiver's there. We've got our 4002S plugged into the ESC controlling the motor and the steering servo, and we've got the little one connected into the ESC to power the winch. Did have a little bit of an issue, so I had to seek some technical help from a few guys. For some unknown reason, when I was powering the winch ESC, it was powering the other ESC even though nothing was connected in, and it was still controlling everything. Probably to do with power going into the receiver then coming back out. But it seems to be sorted now, so that's all good. So we've got our transmitter, so I'll switch it on. Go. So we've got that, we've got throttle, next one, which you can't really hear, bleep, it is very quiet, but I'll just move it back a bit for you. You can see over here, power on the winch. Struggle a little bit to get the line back out. It's my fault, I had it trimmed the wrong way to start with. So that's sending the line back out. It is slow, you can't see it very clear. It is slow. I'll take the winch apart and have a look, see if I can figure that out. So I'll trim it all the way back to the left. There we go. So that's all working great. So what I'm going to do now is just try and fit the batteries in and see how they're going to go. Because obviously, with that one sitting somewhere there, I have to just strap this one in over this side somewhere, so let's give that a go. Alright, so we've got the normal battery in. Now as you can see, everything sits nice and low profile. With the plug just left sat there, when the top's put on, it does flatten it down nice and gently and does hold it in place. Now this would be perfect if it would stand up like that, but it's too tall. So it will go that way, and we do still have hopefully we're going to still have enough clearance for the body shell. So let's just grab the strap. Let's have a look. Should we do this? So we'll come through under there. Let's just chuck that in place somewhere roughly where it's going to go. So there somewhere. I'm trying to see if I can manipulate it into any other gaps or anything like that, but it doesn't seem like it's going to go. So I think we just have to go with this. Let's put the clasp, sorry, the buckle underneath. We'll fit that there, something like that. Now that's nice. That's nice and firm and secure. That's not going anywhere. The balance plug I can just bring across and put between the two leads like that. So that's nice and safe out of the way. And I'll just do the same with this one. Just put it between those, so it can't get trapped or anything. So that looks pretty neat. Everything's nice and out of the way. So I've got a bit of weight back on this side, so that should, the battery's going to be heavier than the two ESCs, but it's a little bit of a weight balance, a little bit better. So let's pop the body shell on. I'm going to dry this out manually with some tissue paper, pop it all back together and see how the body fits on. Alright, so let's get this body on. So just another thing off camera there. Now I've got a small light bar. It was had a bit of a dodgy issue, so I just rewired that whilst just having a look at this. So this body has always been a bit of a tight fit over everything else anyway. Okay, just get that winch line out there, isn't it? So it's all fits on that side. Make sure the bumper hooks over the main chrome bumper on this. Just make sure everything's okay. So it's a nice snug fit. Okay, let's just grab the screwdriver and the screws. This did have Allen bolts, but I decided to get rid of them because I wasn't too happy with fiddling around with an Allen key whilst I was outside. So I'll just purchase some stainless steel Phillips screws instead. There we go. Okay, and now the other side. So this body just, there we go. Just needs lining up slightly on one side. There we go, the body's on. Let's have a look for space in there. There you go, so as you can see under here, fits just perfectly. Let's just connect up. Let's just put everything back where it should be. Just in case of those of you who are wondering, these tow ropes here I make myself. Over here, you probably can't see it. Just move the camera up a bit. There you go. So this box over here is my box where I do all my tow rope stuff from. So there's various different sizes. I'll post a link in the description below of what you can get, what colours, what sizes, and everything else. Also, big shout out to Josh Powick here. Sorted us out with these cool scale number plates. And we have one on the rear as well. Good price on those. He does $5 for a pair. You can get, obviously, the plain rectangular. You can get them with the UK flag on, and you can also get them in the square for like US proper scale effects on your D90s and stuff like that. So he's just made us another square one because we've got a trailer up there which you can't see. So we're gonna have one fitted to that. So yeah, let's power this thing up and see how it does. Okay, so we've got power. It's working, so we're just going to wind the winch back in. That's working perfect. I'm just going to drag it back out. we'll just reposition the camera so you can see that happening. So it's not a very good camera stand that I've got. Let's just move that over there. We go. So we trim all the way to the right. Brings the line outwards. And to stop it, I'm just trying to get rid of that reflection. Trim it all the way to the left. So this is the third channel trim here, and then this is the third channel like activation button if you like. Press it, and it takes it in. To be fair, from that's already got a lot more pulling power than it previously had, so hopefully, there we go. Hopefully that should solve any issues. Now I'm just going to trim it back out because this doesn't actually go all the way in to the ground anchor. This usually hooks up and over the roll bar at the back. You'll see that in just a second. Okay, so I've got enough there, so I'll trim it back to the left. Just going to hook it on. Just take the tension, because obviously if you don't take the tension you'll end up with a bit of slack line. So just bring it over the spare, trim it in. Done. So it's not too tight, it's not too loose that it moves around. So yeah, another successful soldering job on the ESCs there. Really happy with that. So yeah, oh yeah, that's what else I'll show you. So I did have an issue with the front LEDs not working. You're not going to be able to see very well. But what I've done is I've fitted a toggle switch inside. So there you go. So I can get to that nice and easily now, so that can go on and off. The headlight one is still in a little bit of a tricky place. I'm not going to try and bother showing you where that is. But yeah, no, so we're happy with that. So it's ready for the trails again now. We'll get out this weekend, see how it fares. Might end up stripping down the winch. Like I said, it's only a cheap winch. It was about, I think it's about 37 quid off eBay. We will be replacing it with a worn winch at some point. Well, that'll have to wait until after Christmas. So yeah, thanks for tuning in, guys. Like I say, I'll post a link below where you can purchase a tow rope from. It's all done through PayPal. I won't take anything else. I won't do bank transfer. It's not worth the hassle. Like I say, I'd rather give you the security that you know you're protected through PayPal. They can be posted out anywhere within the UK. And I will post worldwide, but obviously you'll have to await a quote for postage costs. I'll also see if I can figure out some sort of links to Jossie's number plates. Like I say, looking up to great guys. These, turn these around pretty fast. Could took him a couple of days to get them to us from ordering. The other one is due with us tomorrow, which is Friday. So yeah, cheers guys for tuning in, and we'll see you later.